been absolutely cruising with our lock of the night plays as our UFC 303 lock of the night play comes through for us with Ian Machado Gary coming through at minus 125. It was a little bit sticky with Michael Venom Page having some solid success in the second round, but Gary, showcasing his fight IQ and his intelligence, was able to do a great job in terms of getting the back of Page and holding on for dear life while landing some shots to nullify any success Page would have had at the beginning of that third round, and he was able to cash that lock of the night ticket for us. Now, since the last recap that I've done for you guys, we are now 3-1 since that last recap, like I said, for plus 3.78 units and a 19% ROI on the year. Now that improves our record to 51-22 for plus 21.23 units for a 6% ROI. And like I said, as I've been saying over the last couple of lock of the night segments, the starting of the year was not that great. We started 23-16 for a 59% hit rate, but since then, we have been absolutely scorching here, going 28-6 for an 82% hit rate on our lock of the night plays, and we continue marching forward to ensure that that yearly rate stays above 70% and ideally gets closer to 75 to 80%. And again, that run that we're currently on is a good indication of how we could end off the second half of this year. All right, I got another 3 lock of the night candidates for you guys for this UFC Denver card. A reminder that there is 2 regional events going down this weekend as well. We have UFC MENA 2, PFL MENA 2, as well as LFA 188, both going down on Friday. If you're looking for breakdowns for those, I'll have written breakdowns on the MMA LOTN Patreon page. Make sure you guys check out the link in the description below for that. And that's where you'll also be able to find which of the following 3 lock of the night candidates I actually end up going with for UFC Denver. So without further ado, let's get into the first candidate that I have for you guys, and it's going to come in the form of Montel Jackson, who comes in at minus 150 as he takes on Damon Blackshear. This is one of the short notice fights that the UFC has put together to try to save this UFC Denver card, which only had 8 fights slated for it as we approached UFC 303 just 2 weeks ago, and now they've added 3 more fights to bring that total to 11, and this was one of them. Like I said, this is a bantamweight matchup between Montel Jackson and Damon Blackshear, and Jackson is a guy that's had a lot of hype throughout his career, but he's had some road bumps against guys like Ricky Simone and Brett Johns who showcase a grapple-heavy approach, and that's usually been the downfall for Jackson. But I believe he's done enough improvements in terms of keeping fights upright, showcasing his takedown defense as well as his get-ups, and from there he's able to apply that pressure with his power striking, where he's been able to knock down or at least record 10 knockdowns in his last 6 fights. This guy is absolutely lethal when he can get into his striking groove and land with the power that we know that he can. And in this matchup specifically against Damon Blackshear, I believe he might face a little bit of adversity early, but given this fight being at altitude and with Jackson being able to showcase stellar takedown defense as this fight goes into deeper waters, I think we'll see Blackshear really start to suck for wind in the second and third rounds, allowing Jackson to have his way with him and probably even find a finish in that second or third round. We're used to seeing Jackson at super chalky odds, so to get him here at minus 150, and given the stylistic matchup that he has here, people may think that this could be a spot to fade him, but I believe the altitude and short notice nature of this fight will play in his hand very well, and that will allow him to go out there and finish Blackshear in the second or third round. The second lock of the night candidate for you guys is going to be the chalkiest of them, but it is Gabriel Bonim at minus 330. He is going up against Angelusa, who's coming off of that unfortunate no contest against Brian Battle, but I think it was very obvious that he was starting to slow down in that matchup and really starting to fall behind, as his style that was successful over the previous 2 fights was not coming to fruition. We saw Battle do a great job in terms of stopping the takedowns and doing an even better job in terms of being very active in the clinch and getting back out into range where he was showcasing better striking. I think we'll see Bonim showcase that better striking once again here, and I think that will eventually lead to a club and sub opportunity for him. Both guys have showcased cardio issues in the past, and obviously altitude could play against them here, but I do think that Bonim is the superior fighter, and where Lusa has been having success against fighters in the past is in the clinch and the grappling, so that he can take time to suck some wind and get his cardio back about him. Bonim will not allow him to rest in those spots, and he will be threatening with submissions and finishing techniques, and I think we'll eventually see Bonfim finish him in the first or second round. The third and final lock of the night candidate is going to be my guy Christian C-Rod Rodriguez, coming in at minus 215. He's going up against Julian Juicy J Erosa, and we saw Erosa come off a beautiful guillotine choke over Hikaru Hamos last time, but that did not come without some adversity, as we did see him get hurt very badly early in that fight, and that must have had some PTSD for Erosa, as he was finished in his two prior fights to that by knockout by Alex Caceres, and that was eventually followed up with that loss to Fernando Padilla. Now, Julian Erosa is very experienced. Obviously, will have a tremendous experience advantage here over Christian Rodriguez, but I think Rodriguez is the slicker striker of the two here, and even though that unorthodox striking approach from Erosa could cause Rodriguez some issues, I think we'll see Rodriguez utilize a very solid game plan to get into the pocket, land some big shots, and I think he could even knock out Julian Erosa. Erosa has not shown the greatest durability as of late, and I think Rodriguez has enough pop on his shots and good enough technique to catch Erosa, maybe with some counters, and take advantage of the low hand striking approach of Erosa, and that will eventually lead to Rodriguez getting a either straight up finish or a club and sub, or even hurting him enough to go out there and win a decision. But I think that we're going to see some action come in on Erosa this week. We're already seeing it, so it might be better to wait it out a little bit before pulling the trigger, but I do think Christian Rodriguez is more than worthy of being a lock of the night candidate for this weekend's card. Now, which of these three will I end up going with as my lock of the night candidate? You guys can find that out on the MMA LOTN Patreon page. Link in the description below. Let's see if we can continue adding on this 28-6 run that we have over our last 34 lock of the night plays. We got another 2 more on the PFL MENA card as well as the LFA card. So we'll have a total of 3 lock of the night plays. Let's see if we can rack it up this weekend once again. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow for the top 3 dog of the night candidates for UFC Denver.